Hello, good morning and welcome to Thoughts and Updates for this week. And here I am in the centre in Kirkintilloch, and I'm going to start talking about the sort of municipal pride that people have at Christmas. You can see just there that East and Bartonshire Council's attempt to get ready to welcome in the new year that's coming, the festivals that are coming, the Hogmanay Festival at Edinburgh, and as I am in the middle of their Christmas decorations, I've been over the last couple of days. Lorna and I have been about, and yesterday we went and we saw the Christmas decorations in my hometown of Ayr, which my daughter Keris, who lives in Ayr, told me were just really quite pathetic. She danced at the switch on, and we also went to see the decorations that were in George Square, and they were lovely, they're nice. I see, however, they have also managed to correct a problem that we saw, both Keris and I, a few weeks back. We went down there and somebody got the panels the wrong way around, so it said Glasgow Christmas Loves, but they've sorted that out. So I have a great deal of authority, a great deal of sympathy with local authorities this time of year as they attempt to find a way to now compete with what people do. I've got into the car because it is beginning to rain and it's windy and it's quite wet, so apologies for the lack of light, but it is early in the morning here in Kirkintilloch. So the report this week that came out that caught my eye was the fact that Christmas trees, municipal Christmas trees, are 1/3 shorter than they usually are. And you have to wonder about austerity and cutbacks getting to that level. However, also the competitive nature of each local authority in terms of getting it right. Edinburgh has a massive party coming for Hogmanay, and they've done a fantastic job over there in trying to recapture the spirit that is part of the Scottish psyche, and been part of the Scottish psyche from well beyond when I was a child, but seems to have been a little lost around the world, around this country. But the competition with individuals who now have displays outside their houses which are just unbelievable, well thought out and stunning, and I wondered if local authorities, councils struggled with that, to compete with it, and maybe the time has come, the ghost is up, and we go back to some kind of community where these displays are what the switch-ons are all about. I don't know. I know that, for example, one of the kids that I go and tutor on a Thursday night, Ariba, round the corner from her, they have this house that is decorated for Christmas, decorated for New Year, decorated for Halloween, and it's done up in an amazing array of lights. It's obviously something that we've seen from America. America has it far more than we do, but we seem to be trying to catch up with it. Is that over-influence from America? Is that overdue foreign influence? Do we care? Does it matter? I don't know. One of the things, of course, we are, and I spoke extensively last week about this, in the final week, the final few days of the general election in the United Kingdom, where we will have a new government on Friday morning that will be announced and forming to take us on the next step of our political journey, whatever that may be. I decided a long time ago the way that I was going to vote. I'm a member of a political party, they have a candidate standing, and I will be voting for them. I won't be tactically voting, but there are a number of places where people are deciding to vote tactically because they want to get the Conservative government out, and particularly they want to get rid of Boris Johnson. This is a watershed election. Watershed election in 2019 for the United Kingdom, watershed election in 2020 for America. Both America and the United Kingdom have similar voting systems for their general elections and presidential elections. Whether those should change or not is something that is a debate for another time. We've got what we've got. Thursday may see a sea change in British politics. That for the first time the people have made a decision which is based upon a positive and a negative. Anybody but Corbyn, anybody but Johnson is in England what's happening. The Liberal Democrat campaign has been a car crash. Jo Swinson, in whose constituency I sit and I will be voting, and I won't be voting for her, has not had an effective campaign as the new Liberal Democrat leader. There is a possibility that she will not be in Parliament, that she will lose her seat in the tsunami, apparently, of votes that are going to come from the Scottish National Party. I don't know if that's true. Thursday will tell us whether it is or it's not. England will decide what type of government we're going to have. Northern Ireland might have sway because there's tactical voting over there, and Wales is a real challenge to work out what might happen at all. We all are sitting with bated breath. But one of the things I think that is really important is I don't care what you do, you vote. Forget Normandy beaches and D-Day landings and resisting the Luftwaffe and the Battle of Britain's spirit and all the rest of it, or the suffragettes who died in order to gain the vote, or any of that kind of nonsense. Fact is, democracy gives you an opportunity to have a voice. Democracy states that if there are not enough people, not sufficient people who have the same voice, you need to go out and you need to convince them otherwise. It is quite clear that the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, have not convinced people. People are therefore in a quandary. Other parties have an opportunity. They should grasp it and they should take it. The system does not help smaller parties because the way in which it works is a local area has a member of Parliament that represents it and they vote for that person. So if you are a Labour Party member in a Conservative constituency, you don't have a member of Parliament who represents your interests. And if every constituency in the United Kingdom, the person who won by one vote, then the ones who lost have another 5 years to wait to convince people to get somebody in. That is an unfair system. That should change, but it won't change before Thursday. So, watershed election, absolutely. How are people going to vote? No idea. What's going to be the result and the balance? Difficult, really, really difficult to predict. What could be argued that was easier to predict overnight or last night was what happened in Saudi Arabia. And Anthony Joshua regained his 4 world titles, not 3, 4. The International Boxing Organisation title was included in there as well. Joshua's legacy is back on. Andy Ruiz Jr. went into that ring far too fat. He went into that ring out of condition. He's admitted he partied. The idea of a trilogy fight for me is ridiculous. I don't think it should happen unless it's a fight over who gets to the buffet first, in which case I would stand back and let Andy Ruiz get to it. Andy Ruiz has won the respect of everybody because what he did against Anthony Joshua. If he wants that respect back, then he needs to do what Anthony Joshua did. Not a rematch, but go, have a think, decide his legacy and go forward. Not fight Joshua. Because in a third match, I don't think that there is an appetite for it. There's an appetite for unification. I know Anthony Joshua has a choice. Did he fight Alexander Usyk? Does he fight, and that's the WBO mandatory. Does he fight Kubrat Pulev, the IBF mandatory? Does he chase a unification fight with Wilder or Fury? He's made it very clear he's not chasing anybody. I think that what will happen is that he'll avoid Usyk and he will fight Pulev for the IBF. He will give up the WBO belt. Usyk will go on and fight for it. There's no guarantee that Usyk will win it. There's no guarantee that Joshua will beat Pulev, though I think it's a pretty decent enough bet after last night's showing. And we're back to fractured belts. What happens with Wilder Fury becomes less and less important, although Fury winning would mean that he gets the Ring Magazine belt and he gets the WBC belt. And that would have a monster impact. I think that Fury would then start to try and hoover the belts, irrespective of his usual banter about, I'm going to leave after 3 more fights. Oh, lights have gone off. Or whatever. So one of the things that's important in amongst all of that is to understand the politics of boxing. There are currently 2 heavyweight champions of the world and one who claims he's the lineal champion. There needs to be one for this era to be definitive. We all hope that Wilder or Fury fight it out on the 22nd of February and then they get it on, the winner of that against Anthony Joshua, and all the belts are on the line. And I just don't see it happening in 2020. I hope it does. I really hope it does. I felt that it might happen in 2020 if Andy Ruiz Jr. had won, but because of the difficulties that exist, I think there might be a problem. With Wilder's team, don't like Matchroom. Fury's team, really don't like Matchroom. We also got another interim WBA champion of the world in Chris Eubank Jr., who won overnight in America. A real Marmite figure, like his father, but he bizarre, second round, dislocated shoulder, not great. So it's Christmas, and we're all getting ready for the festive period and all that comes along with that, and ain't that great and fantastic. And I talked last week about how people who are alcoholics and who struggle a little bit, you should keep an eye out for them. And I think that's an important message at this time, and there are a number I see of organisations, charities and places that are opening their doors for the homeless on Christmas Day. How about the churches? It'd be nice on Christmas Day, although I think quite a few actually do. And that, considering the church stole the festival of Dionysus to proclaim as the birth of Christ, is not bad. It's a time as well of thinking back and nostalgia, because we head towards Hogmanay, which is the point of rebirth, the point of change. And in Scotland, as I was talking about earlier, it's a tradition that's been with us for a long, long time. And people get an opportunity to look back and look forward. And because of that, one of the things that I've been listening to over the last little while in my drives round Scotland and my podcasts has been listening to Lord Peter Wimsey and Ian Carmichael solving a case of the body in the bath. Lovely little piece of drama over 5 sessions, which was great because it just wipes away the troubles of the time, and you go back to a point at which the world was much better. A point at which I think most of the Conservative politicians would like to see us return to. My writing this week, there's not been much. I've gone through the talking ball stuff. A Ringside Report I did, and this is going back again, and it's an interesting one. It was an Argentinian fighter who fought from 1978, made his debut late in 78 right through to 1988 or 1989, something like that. He fought 3 times for the world title, and by God, who did he fight? Hagler, Hearns, none. My gosh. He didn't win any of them, but just to get in the ring with those 3 legends must have been unbelievable. His name, Juan Roldan, I hope I pronounced it correctly. It's one of the things that the thing that I did for the United Football Academy. I'd hoped that I'd pronounced all the kids' names correctly. It's one of those things that you really do struggle with. I've got a kid on a Friday night who's a tutor whose name is Uwe. That's not his full name. His full name has more consonants in it than a Finnish verb. But we have a period of time now to reflect, a period of time now to plan forward, a period of time to decide where on Thursday our cross goes on the election. And that makes it probably one of the most important weeks of British political history in 2019. I hope that next Sunday I'm talking positively about the result, but I've got a funny feeling I might not be. In the meantime, until then, and maybe I'll be able to get out and talk in the open air next week. It's bye for now.